and wake up to your opponent having aces and just smack you around like Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston.
300.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because when you're in Mike's spot and you put the aggression in, you put in about 2K, you got about $4,000 behind. I don't mind calling it off with the $1,600 overlay, especially when you're driving the action yourself. You know, you're the one putting the money in, you're the one putting your opponents in difficult spots, but when KGB's essentially told Lin G that he's not folding by putting in about half of his stack, she should take a moment to realize that her fold equity is literally less than the lowest card in the deck, and she needs to take a moment to consider all of her options and come to terms with the fact that she's just not going to drag in that pot.
600.
But she'll keep trucking along, but unfortunately, it seems like your bet won't. And interesting turn here. Lin with the overpair, Edgar with the open-ended, and L with a gutter, but the offsuit 5 on the turn would spell demise for probably two of the players at the table, and right away, no delay, Edgar.
I have no words.
With the nuts, L with the effective nuts, and Lin with an overpair after just getting stacked. And this is the exact same hand Phil Ivey faced his earlier demise with, the biggest hand on high-stakes poker history at the time. Phil Ivey against Tom Dwan. Dwan with the higher end of the straight, Phil Ivey with the lower end of the straight. And this is going to be our hobo hand of the night, no question about it.
No question about it.
So Edgar choosing the best way to proceed with the stone cold nuts against L leading into the field. Lin calling with her overpair. Edgar with a 7 high straight. L with the lower end of the straight.
You got a little production too. Instead, extend a couple more.
Getting a massage, and it doesn't get much better than that when you got a massage going on. You got the nuts. You got a player donking into the pre-flop razor. The tilted pre-flop razor. Her calling in between, and
at least I played, yeah.
You know, all you're thinking about is Vegas in the Mirage with the check mark next to his picture.
Check fold raise. That's it.
And L must feel like he's thinking the exact same thing right now.
Fold.
He definitely thinks he's ahead here.
A rude awakening about to come L's way. Edgar gonna show right away. And L drawing stone dead in this $27,000 pot. Coldest of cold decks for L. It has not been his day, but Edgar, the MVP.
Drawing dead. He's drawing dead. I don't know why they ran it twice. I don't... yeah, but I'm not sure why they felt like they should run it twice unless they didn't see the hands.
So L stacked by Edgar. Edgar with a $31,000 profit on the day. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your hobo hot hand of the day. And if that doesn't spark your imagination, back to back to back hands, players getting stacked. I don't know why you guys are watching the stream.
I don't mind so far, though.
He raised
Yeah,
it.
she's definitely winning, so...
At least for today.
That's what poker's all about, right? We should be having fun.
It should be. It's a game, and I think a lot of professionals nowadays take this a little too seriously. Forget the fact that the people that they'd like to be playing with are typically taking it as a hobby. And if you can't add value to a poker game,
You pay the kitty?
probably shouldn't be there, and you probably won't be welcomed with open arms next
Who
time.
won the kitty last?
Could not agree more.
Not sure.
Interesting hand developing here. We got Brett opening it up. Edgar 3-betting L with pocket jacks in position, and I see a 4-bet incoming. Edgar's been playing really well, and typically when you got talking chips, you also got splashing chips, and L understands this. He also understands his potentially tilted image can get him paid. And so he goes for a chunky sizing 4K in position with jacks. Mariano now with a decision in the small blind. But he just decides to let it go. It's going to be difficult to play that kind of hand out of position against a competent player like L. And you definitely don't want to put in a 5-bet to $10,000 and commit stacks. So definitely the only option there is to offload. And now Edgar, sitting about...
While he's in the middle of a hand, he is getting poured a glass of Canis.
So
this is
scared.
officially the
I did
greatest
not want to be
game
pouring shit over
I've
the table.
ever seen.
We got to recruit this man to a James Bond movie. Edgar, going to flick in the call with ace-king off. Wouldn't mind a call or a jam. They're playing about 200 big blinds deep, and game flow would suggest that L's going to be getting out of line. Edgar's night so far. L
That's a good idea. I should do that.
just running into it all game long. Edgar, top in a 4-bet pot. And L betting range here, quarter pot, as he would do with every hand. Pocket jacks, pocket kings, ace king, ace queen.
What can you eat?
And Edgar just snap ripping it in, and L a bit tilted here. I don't see L putting any more money into this pot. It's almost impossible to find a bluff in this situation, even though L's been running into it all day. He's a consummate professional, and there's no reason for Edgar to believe that L can't have the exact hand that he's representing in this situation. So I think L's just posturing and for offloading.
Can we get service in here, by the way? Yeah, thank you.
So Edgar, the big winner on the day, up $40,000 in this contest. Ripping.
And the cards running the way they are, I like my chances.
Let's hook up my main man, Chris. Give him some merch to give to his daughter.
There we go.
Let's make it happen. And as always, our leaderboard tonight is brought to you by Monkey Knife Fight, your home for fantasy player props. Sign up today and get a 100% instant match on your first deposit when you use the promo code LATB.
Beautifully spoken. If there's some kid-size Live at the Bike merch, I am very interested in that, actually. I'd even pay for that, to be honest with you. That'd be really cool.
Let's get that. Let's make that happen. Let's make that happen. We got to get the kids into gambling.
You can never start too soon.
Almost.
And the game is starting to finally open up here. We got a open from L, 3-bet from Mariano in position. KGB calling with a dominating flush draw, ace-queen. Edgar calling out of the blinds with queen 10 of spades, and he flops the absolute world on ace king 5. Flush draw and a gutter ball. KGB continuing into the field after it gets checked to him. Mariano, the original raiser, flopping second pair, but not going to c-bet into 3 other opponents. Edgar now with a lot of options here. It's tough to represent a very strong hand after just calling out of the big blind, but you have a world of equity. You're also dominated by any king X of spades. So, for example, king jack of spades has you in absolute agony.
He makes a really well-timed raise, in my opinion, here in this position. I like it a lot, but I don't think, like you said, he's under-repped here for sure, and he's going to get some calls.
It's just very tough to represent anything on this board, particularly strong when it goes raise 3-bet from a guy like Mariano, who's extremely capable. It's tough to convince someone that you're flatting a hand like ace-king, which, for example, would be your best raise candidate in this situation. I just expect him to toss in that 4-bet almost 100% of the time.
Notice L has not put chips in as fast as he normally would in a spot like this. He has definitely got his radar on. His alarm bells are going off, and he's starting to really kind of determine where he's at.
I wouldn't be surprised if L's a little more worried about KGB than Edgar in this spot, just because KGB doesn't 4-bet with almost anything in his range, meaning that I've seen KGB call 3-bets with kings. I've seen him call 3-bets with ace-king. L not going anywhere just yet. His hand is just far too strong to fold. And KGB cannot reopen the pot.
Yeah,
But he
KGB
decides
looks
to get out
pained
of the
to
way.
make that fold.
And so, very similar. Edgar and L just don't have the best hands on this board because of the pre-flop action, but Edgar wasting no time to catch his flush on the turn. So L making a nice call. Edgar now with the second nuts.
All in.
And ripping it in here for over the size of the pot.
This is a great move by Edgar right now.
The hand I just pulled. Yeah.
Bit of a surprising shove here. He doesn't have a lot to protect against. And it's very difficult to find any hand he'd be bluffing with in this situation.
No, but if my mind is correct on this, Edgar has been paying attention and believes that L would be making a call like this, especially with the exact hand that he has, which is a paired ace queen, you know, so, or, you know, paired ace. I think, you know, obviously he made the fold. That was the correct fold, but I like the aggression. Edgar, I don't know enough about him. I like what I saw there. I thought that was really interesting.
I didn't realize that L was actually the effective stack, sitting at only 10k. I thought Edgar was shoving for over the size of the pot. So now that I realize that Mike making some bluffs, Brett doing the same. And Edgar making some serious plays down the stretch recently.
And starting to build up a stack that's going to challenge Lynn for being the biggest winner here tonight. So, I like my chances to have Lynn as the number one winner, but Edgar's not too far behind.
Couple more players being shouted out in the comment section. We got Eric Persons as the greatest player of all time. I got to agree with that, man. Genuinely. No word of a lie. Eric Persons. We got to get Eric Persons on this show.
Let's make it happen.
Put me in the lineup with him. He scares me, but I'm about it.
Let's make it happen.
I'm about it. His arms are about the size of my entire body.
Shout out to Wayne, Polarizing Chris. That is my Instagram handle, at Polarizing Chris. So shout out to Wayne, my guy Wayne. We miss you. I'd like to share the booth with Wayne here soon too. That would take me back a bit.
I do believe Wayne will be in the booth for the Elky Yo Viral plus our extremely special guest next week.
I'm gonna be racking my brain up until you tell me, but I like the guessing part. I definitely like the guessing part.
It adds intrigue, and especially if you'll be in the booth here with Wayne next week, it'll be even more exciting to stumble into this game not knowing and just be blown away by this absolute legend of the game making another appearance on Live at the Bike.
So this person's made an original appearance before.
I can neither confirm nor deny that.
I thought that was part of the hint, or there are no hints.
I don't know if I can even give hints at this point. It's that serious. So we got Edgar here with top pair, Mike with an open ender. He also blocks 10-9 suited and Jack-9 suited, which is very important if he wants to turn his hand into a bluff here. I don't see Edgar checking this one back, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike do something creative if he bets. Edgar checking it back though, and River rolling off a 4. Now Mike sitting here with ace high, and table just got really quiet for whatever reason. I don't know.
I think they believe that a major hand is happening right now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like there's 40k in the middle with 20 behind. But Mike putting in the bet. It's going to get snapped up by Edgar when it gets to him.
Gets the nice call comment here from Mike because that's what it was.
It was a nice call. Edgar, he's got some rambling chips now. He's got some shouting chips.
I believe now, if the chip counts were correct, he is now the biggest winner in the game. So now my choice in Lynn, I